Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Money, Sex, and God. I am super excited to be on today. I have someone coming on who is someone very special to me who is doing some fabulous, amazing things in New York City. Someone that I've been friends with since we both started our businesses here, and it's just been such honor and pleasure to watch his business grow. I'm gonna bring him on now, and let me bring him on now. Here we go. Button.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me on the show.
We're so excited to have you. Thank you so much for coming on. I want to tell everyone a little bit about who you are and why I'm getting all hot and bothered bringing you on. Um,
Okay. Are you naked? It looks like you're naked.
can we just pretend that I am? We can do that.
Let's pretend.
um, so, Guy is the co-founder of the Tantra Institute. So, for those of you that don't know, and this is you guys are based out of New York City, but now you're in how many different cities?
About 25 or so cities.
Amazing. And some of the events, I mean, I've supported you at the events. I've been to your events. They're incredible. So tell us a little bit about the events that you do and what you're putting out into the world.
Sure. Well, we focus on creating events that are conscious, that promote mindfulness and people being connected to each other from an empowered place. So some of those events are Tantra Speed Date is probably our more popular event. It's an event for singles where they get to meet in a mindful way with other singles. So that's probably our most popular event right now. We also have a variety of other events for couples. We have a class called Secrets of Sexual Ecstasy, which is a weekend that we teach, and then we have sort of a monthly intro to that we do in New York every month, and now also in San Francisco, LA, and a few other cities as well. So things have been moving really fast. We're teaching a lot of classes. We're traveling around the world, and then we have facilitators around the world as well who also teach the classes. So
Mm.
there's a lot of travel in our lives right now.
That's why I never see you when we live in
Yeah.
the same city.
Well, and you're very busy too,
Yeah,
so
Guy and I have to book ourselves like 2 months in advance.
I think we have a date on the books for 2021,
We
right?
do. We're ready for 2021, which is beautiful. And I just I've loved watching your business grow. Like we both kind of started ours around the same time, and New York City is now getting sexier and more exciting. And it's
Isn't it?
just it's awesome. Like the consciousness that is being brought into sexuality and so good. So thank you for doing what you do and bringing that out into the world.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on your show. I think you came to the very first Tantra Speed
I
Date,
was at that's where we met. I was at the first Tantra speed
number
date.
one, and the rest
Yeah,
is history.
and the rest is history. So I'm sure people want to know a little bit about who you are and like how you came to be one of the co-founders of the Tantra Institute. Like, what was your journey with sex and conscious sexuality, and how are you now in a place where you're not, as you jokingly say, a complete asshole, only a little bit of an asshole?
I'm not an asshole anymore,
Oh,
and
great.
I have this on good authority because that's what I hear from the women in my life right now,
Hmm.
and it kind of surprised me. I'm like, really? Are you sure? It's been a long journey from, I guess, mindlessness to mindfulness, maybe. Coming to a place of more consciousness. I mean, it's a journey, I think, for everyone. I don't know how I became the co-founder of the Tantra Institute. It just sort of happened. Um, and Yeah, I was talking with somebody yesterday. I just kind of find myself on this path, and here I am, and now I'm on this path. So I just am kind of going from point A to point B. I don't know where I would start. I mean, I'm 42. I've had many different careers in my life. I've had many different experiences that have shaped me. It's kind of hard to figure out where you start. with all of that, you know. Right now it's just sort of like a weird soup of everything coming together all at once. So yeah, I don't know where how or where it all began, but certainly I always was very interested in this topic even as early as a child. So it's kind of always been a something that's really close to me, and something that I consider very sacred.
Talk a little bit about that. What's the, how the viewers, I'm sure, would love to see, like, in which ways you consider it sacred, and how is sex and sexual energy a sacred act?
Well, you know, I mean, we're put on this planet for an infinitesimal amount of time, and you know, our the creative life force, you know, the sex is the act that we do, which is how we continue the species, right? Like we have the power to create life. And life requires us to bring together these separate parts of ourselves, of our oneness that was separated when we came into human form, right? When we're not in human form, we're a part of the oneness. When we come down here, we enter this world of duality, and you know, uh, only by bringing together the masculine and the feminine, or the male and the female, can you create life on this planet. So I think, uh, you know, it's a beautiful thing to think that this is how we continue our species. This is how we create life. We have to come together and create this and bring both of our gifts together. And only together can we create life. Only by unifying can we create a new life. So for me, that is the most sacred of things. And that's the most sacred of things for me. And I spit on any fools that say that sex is not a sacred thing, that treat it with shame, that say that it's something dirty and disgusting. This is what God gave us. So that's my story. I borrowed that line from a Charles Simic poem.
So was sex ever not sacred in your life?
I think there were times where I was less conscious about it, but I don't think it was ever not sacred. I was always wanting to connect very deeply with the women that I was with in my life, and achieve that to varying degrees of success. Tantra has helped me come closer to it, and you know, among the many other practices that I studied. So yeah, I wouldn't say that it was ever not sacred. You know, that's just how I've lived my life. Maybe I'm rare in that way, and thank goodness for that. But but yeah, over time, I've just sort of learned to become more conscious about it, manage my energy better, and make more of myself available to connect with my partner.
Thank you. The one of the things I talk about a lot with my humans that are here watching, right, is this concept of bringing that sacred sex, that eroticism back to yourself, right? Through, I mean, you called me an hour ago and I was like, after a 3-hour self-pleasure session, just a big puddle of yum. And a lot of people, I think, have this perception that self-pleasure is kind of this avoidance strategy, or this way of kind of indulging and wasting time, and like kind of a lot of, I think there's a lot of mindset around it that it's veering, taking us away from the connection in our lives, right, from the people around us and things like that, and you can use it kind of addictively. So can you speak a little bit to self-pleasure in your life and in the lives of your clients, and how it's been the opposite, and kind of how it's shown up for you? And yeah, speak to that.
Well, if you come to any Tantra Institute workshop that is about sex, like our Intro to Sexual Ecstasy class, the number one piece of homework that you will get assigned after the class is 5 minutes a day of self-pleasure.
Yeah.
With no goal. So
Right.
it's a goalless self-pleasure. And so we consider that to be a foundational practice to sexual wellness. Like you have to be in touch with yourself, and know yourself, and have a strong relationship to your body before you can openly, vulnerably, and more deeply connect with another human being. Like, this is my violin. And unless I have mastered my violin and I know how to play my violin, I'm not going to dare step into an orchestra where now I'm going to play with others,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Master your instrument.
Yeah, and I think that's especially important when people get into relationship, right? And we start, one of the things that I see people doing is they start relying on their partner
Hmm.
to master their body, right? And they're kind of just waiting for that to happen. They're waiting for the pleasure to reach a different peak or to get to another state. When there's this ability, if they desire, to actually turn it back to themselves and find their own buttons and figure out how to play their own instrument so that with ease they can guide their partner, right?
Hmm.
And speak to that. I know you're someone too who really in sex who loves kind of the conscious, like asking and verbalizing like what people want and what do you desire, and I know it's something you teach in your classes too. So I think, yeah, just I'm kind of like on a tangent here, but just thinking about like how beautiful it can be when we shift sex away from the pressure on the partner and move it into a responsibility for self, right? Um, and then we're pleasantly surprised when our partner shows us something new about us. Right?
Well, yeah. Why should there be pressure? I mean, you know, when when two kids are playing in the
Mm.
sandbox, there's no pressure to, oh my God, we have to build the best castle and it has to be like this. It's just play. We're
Yeah.
just flowing and kind of going wherever feels like the right next place to go. Um, and goallessness is a big part of it. But yeah, why should there be pressure? And we have this thing in our culture where it's like you expect the other person to satisfy you, and it's like, well, no, that's not their job. That's your job. It's your instrument. You play your
Mm.
violin, you keep it in tune. That's your instrument. um, and I think that gets us into a lot of trouble when it comes to navigating our desires with our partner.
Mm. Yeah. Well, when you mentioned goal list, can you speak more to that? What does that mean for you?
Well, so I mean, the sort of unwritten goal of sex is orgasm, right? Climax.
Right.
Without that event, particularly without the male orgasm, there's no child that can be birthed, right? So for thousands of years, for millennia, the goal of sex has been the male orgasm because that is what's necessary in order to uh, bring seed to egg and create life.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, a lot of survival was about numbers. The tribe with the most amount of people is the tribe that survives. So that idea is out there, and it's got thousands of years of uh, evolutionary conditioning to it. And that's not really the goal anymore, right? I mean, we
Mm.
don't have to procreate. The world's kind of overpopulated as it is now anyway. And we're not necessarily worried so terribly about our survival because we have structures such as the military, we have governments, we have, you know, to varying degrees of effectiveness, but we essentially have that part of our lives more or less handled. Certainly in this country, it feels like.
Mhm.
So then the goal is not to produce more offspring so that we can be safe. Um, and the goal right now just seems to be enjoyment and play. How do we enjoy this? How do we utilize this sexual energy? If we're not creating a life, let's channel that energy to what else we want to create in our lives, or what
Mm.
kind of magic we want to bring to our relationship, or something that we're
Mm.
creating in our business,
Mm.
right? Um, so, yeah, it's when you take away that goal, and you can just kind of flow and go wherever the arousal takes you without this idea of, oh, I have to get to the goal line, I have to score this touchdown on the football field. Well, then you can just kind of look around and like touch the grass and hang out with the fans and and talk to the referee. You don't have to do all these things, and you can just enjoy the journey of where you're at. And then when you get to that goalless place, particularly in sex, you find there are actually things that feel a lot better than climax. I mean,
Yeah.
so,
And a lot better
um,
than penetration, I've heard too from various men. Like that's right. Like once we go to it, that we realize like there's so much else to do other than just put the penis inside. Right? There's so many other
um,
things.
it's nice to put the penis inside,
Yes.
yes.
Right.
Did I lose you?
No, you're there.
I think,
I see you.
okay, something happened.
Okay. Oh no, we lost you again. Come back, darling. We talk about putting the penis inside and then we kill the internet. That's amazing. Let's see if you can come back. Oh, you've disappeared. I'll wait. I'll bring you back on camera. You were just getting juicy. Okay, I'm going to add you again.
Hello,
Hey,
I'm
hi.
back.
We just talked about penis and vagina and then you disappeared.
Yeah, and that's so a phone call came in and something happened to the screen.
All my abandonment
Um,
wounds are coming up.
I'm, I'm, I'm so sorry that I wasn't there for you, Genevieve, but I want you to know that I'm back now and I still love you
Okay,
and I'm here. So
thanks.
you're okay.
Okay. I was like, wait, you were just here. Um, okay, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, penis and vagina is nice and
Yeah, P to V is nice. It's great, it's very fulfilling in many ways. Um, you know, I hear a lot from women about how much they want that sometimes.
Mhm.
There's also things that you can do with your hands that a penis can't do. Um, and there are many different ways to connect with someone. So there's a whole um, plethora of colors and different ways that you can play with your partner.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Amazing. Thank you. You're like, I will give you none of the tips, but just know there's a plethora.
Oh, if you want some tips, I can throw in some tips.
Throw in some
I'm just
tips.
thinking it goes back to to the same myth, right? I mean, unless penis goes in vagina, you can't make a child, thereby, millennia of conditioning.
Right.
What kind of tips are we looking for here?
I mean, give us like 2 to 3 things that are not penis and vagina that can be incredibly satisfying for both parties.
Okay. Well, hand to genital. The hand is a very dexterous and facile part of your body. And most of us are very good at using our hands because we use them all the day, particularly our thumbs on those phones, right?
Mm.
So, the thumb is actually a really good length and shape if you want to stimulate the G spot.
Mm.
Um, so a thumb is a really good instrument to use for that, and we have strong thumbs. So, then of course you have mouth to genital, right? Different ways that you can stimulate in that way. Um, yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can connect with someone. You can connect with energy where you're not touching them, but you're kind of like flirting with this anticipation of, am I touching you? Am I going to touch you? Oh my God, I'm going to be touching you soon. Oh, not touching you yet. Like you can kind of play with that teasing,
Mm.
which I know you enjoy very much.
Yeah.
And
And my whole body just
so
flushed.
I, I, I can see that. I can see that. So see, playing with that energy, playing with that dynamic,
Hmm.
can be really, really fun.
So fun. And it's
Hmm.
and in self-pleasure, right? Like bringing that, people often think that self-pleasure just means like touch your genitals and have a climax, and there's so much. Like I was this morning, like it was crazy. I was like dancing in front of the mirror by myself and then like playing with my own energy, and then I had ropes tied my, like, I mean, I just went bananas because like why not? And there's such, I use the word plethora, there's such a plethora of things we could do with our own instrument, with our own
Hmm.
body, to find our own magic, and then we can bring it out to our partners, which is just such joy and so good.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And for
And that's
men
fun.
to be able to do that, right? Because I think a lot of men are like, well, I don't want to do that because that's like weird and I should just touch my cock and get off, right? But like there's so much no matter what, kind of genitals you have, that can be as just a wide spectrum, and we get limited in what we think we can do for pleasure, and there's so much more, you know.
Huge spectrum out there.
Yeah, yeah,
Huge spectrum.
yeah, especially when we fall into kink and BDSM and all of that too, right? And where we can go with that, and then start merging it with Tantra, and like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, is there anything that's on your mind for that you want the viewers to know about or to play with? Anything that's been like kind of in your awareness this week around sex? Some new musings that you'd like to share with us?
New musings. Let me think about it. I've been so busy. We have a couple of new courses coming, and I've been so busy preparing them. So I've kind of been in that zone. So are your viewers mostly men or mostly women?
Um, Usually women that have partners, male
Okay,
partners.
okay, okay. That's good. Um, what do I want to say to your viewers? Um, well, I guess what I want to say to your women with partners viewers is I hope you're appreciating your men.
Mm.
I think uh, you know there's been a lot of really hard knocks coming towards men lately. It can be very challenging to be a man, especially if you're growing up and you don't have a role model right now. It can be a very challenging time. Um, but yeah, I feel like there's uh, I feel like at some point there's going to be a resurgence of a lot of people. You're already starting to see it now, coming forward and saying, "Hey, men are awesome.
Yeah.
Men are really great. When a man holds masculine space for me, I feel so good."
Mm.
And I hear that from the women that I'm around in my life, which, I mean, admittedly, a lot of them are people that are involved in the Tantra world. A lot of them do work like you, where they're heavily involved in this, and they all love men, and they have tremendous pleasure with the men in their lives. So if you're, and it's interesting because we coach a lot of couples, and it's really challenging out there. It's really challenging. I think as much as men are trying to figure themselves out in this new changing world, women are even more trying to figure out who they are and what they want. You know, and it feels like lately a lot of women have been spending a lot of time in their masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
And when couples come to us for coaching, it's often, this is the most common thing that I see, is usually the woman in the relationship. So we're talking about heterosexual couples
Right.
here. Usually the woman in the relationship wants to be more in her feminine and wants her man to be more masculine, right?
Right.
I'm sure your client says, I want him to be more masculine. But then
Yep.
we have a couples coaching session, and every time the man steps into his masculine, she shuts him down.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, so if you want your man to be more in his masculine, well, you have to be in your feminine. And wouldn't you want to be in your feminine if you're truly feminine in your core, which I believe majority of women are,
Right.
right? Like greater than 50% of women are more feminine at their core than masculine.
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to find anomalies in any gender or wherever you look, but in general, most women are feminine, and they want to have a man to hold that space and to handle things so that they can relax into their feminine.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you have to relax into your feminine and not try to be more masculine than your partner. Because if you're more masculine than your partner, you're going to send him into his feminine.
Yeah.
Because there's no other place for him to go.
Right.
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 So yeah.
Mm.
So be good to your men and appreciate your men, because men right now, we're not getting any appreciation.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And what happens is when you appreciate a man for something, he does more of it.
Right.
Because we like appreciation.
Right.
All we really want is for you to appreciate. We're really, like, I say this all the time, but we are really very similar to dogs. There is a reason why they say a dog is man's best friend. Because we're really simple. Like we are mission oriented. You send us on a mission. You know, whether it's, you know, with a dog, you throw the ball and that's the mission. And the dog goes and he grabs the ball and he brings it back and he goes, here, I got the ball for you. I got the ball for you. Throw it again. Throw it again. And then you go to the dog, you go, that's a good boy. And then you take the ball and you throw it again.
Right.
And it's like, all the dog really wants is your approval. And that's all we really want is your approval. Send us on a mission to the store to get you an ice cream, you know, in the particular flavor that you want. And man, we will go to that. And then if that store doesn't have that ice cream, we will go to the next store. And then if that's the only store in town, we will find another store in another town somewhere so we can find that ice cream, so we can bring it home to you, so you can tell us that's a good boy.
Right.
Right? Like, it's so simple. So give us a mission and then reward us when we accomplish your mission.
And
that's all you need to do.
You know, the thing that I hear a lot is this starts from women. They'll say to me, well, I don't even know what I want. I don't know what I desire, right? So they're so out of tune with that space that, you know, they don't know how to ask for what they want. And so,
which is why you have to practice with your instrument,
right,
as you do for 3 hours a day. You can probably like totally yo-yo ma your own violin.
I totally listen.
And then that puts you in touch with your desire and what you want. And then you know how to ask for what you want.
Yeah. It's and there's such a fun, sexy way to ask for what you want. That's not like, go do this for me, right? That's like, oh my God, I would love some mint chocolate chip vegan ice cream right now. Can you come over with that? And then guy's like, I'm gonna
now I have a mission. Let's do it. Right? And then we call our friends and they're like, yo, hey Dave, what are you doing? It's like, I'm on a mission. I have to find mint chocolate chip ice cream and bring it over to Genevieve's house. I'm on a mission. He's like, oh, cool. I know this store where they have the best mint chocolate chip. Let's go. Right. And then, you know, we get all buddies with each other and there's a camaraderie and we're trying to figure out, you know, that mission.
Yes,
right?
Because the woman, when she gets the ice cream, right? What at least for me, what happens to my body is I then show you my radiance, right? I then show you my appreciation, my beauty, I can relax back into having exactly what I desire. And you get to watch like literally life itself unfold, right? Which is just the best thing in the world.
You know, it's interesting. I was at Burning Man, and there was this big, huge, tall art structure, like maybe 60 feet tall in the air. And how much time do we have left, by the way?
Yeah.
This is kind of like a 3-minute story.
Okay, tell the 3 minutes.
So I'm climbing up this tall structure, and at some point I realize, you know, this is a serious art structure. Like if I fall off of this structure, you know, it's way too high for anybody to survive a fall like this. So, and at the top of the structure was this throne, like, and just the throne, just the seat, tiny seat. And I was climbing up with a friend of mine, a female, and we're climbing up, and there was somebody in the throne. And so we're kind of hanging off the edge and waiting because there's nowhere to stand. There's just a seat, and then there's the thing that you climb, because it gets narrower and narrower. And when we got to the top, you know, my friend there was a guy in the chair, and she sat on his lap, and he says, and you know, he's like, come on, there's room for 3. And I'm like, there is not room for 3. I'm like, if I try to sit, I'm just gonna fall.
Right.
Like it's not a situation. And then she's like, well, you know, we don't want to lose Guy because Guy's like this famous Tantra instructor. And, you know, we don't want him to fall. And can you let him sit on the chair or whatever? And he looks at me and goes, oh, he goes, you teach. He goes, I've always wanted to learn Tantra. Can you tell me something about Tantra? And I said, well, I'll tell you what. You let me sit in the throne. I'll tell you the secret to Tantra. And he's like, oh, okay. You know, so it takes a moment because there's no room. Like he has to navigate out of the seat without bumping her off the seat and hanging on and moving and kind of moving around. And so I sit in the seat finally, and then she sits on me, and then he's hanging off the edge. And when he's hanging off the edge, I finally get a look at all of Black Rock City from this staggering height. And I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. It takes me a moment to just take in this beautiful vision. And so then once I have that moment, he goes, so tell me, what is the secret of Tantra? And, you know, I'm taking in this view, and I was just kind of inspired, and you're sitting on this throne, and then she's sitting on me. And it kind of felt like, you really do feel like the king of the world up on this throne because you're so high. And you climbed it yourself to get all the way up there. Every rung the last rung is like this big, you could barely fit a toe on it.
Mm.
So I'm sitting there and I'm looking out of the world. He's like, so, you promised to tell me the secret of Tantra. And I said, well, here's the secret of Tantra. I said, you see, I'm the masculine and I'm sitting on the throne. It's a king's throne and I'm sitting on it. You see, but the feminine is sitting on top of me. And I said, thereby, the feminine is elevated by the masculine above the masculine. So the feminine is actually the highest that there is. But I'm sitting on the throne and I'm elevating her.
Mm-hmm.
So the masculine elevates the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's Tantra.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%.
So we hold this structure in this container, but it's inspired by the feminine. Right? Like the download comes from the feminine, so the feminine is elevated, so she's closer to the download, and that's the intuition, right? The feminine is intuitive.
Yeah.
Right? Not talking men and women here, we're talking energies. We have feminine and masculine, right? So so yeah.
That's beautiful. That's it. It's something I think about it like in my self-pleasure practice, my feminine and my masculine fuck each other all the time. And I can like actually feel it happening.
You are such a kinky soul.
I love my self-pleasure practice. Can we talk about this?
I know you do.
I
know you
my
do.
favorite thing in the world.
That would be a 3-hour call, I think, to talk about your epic self-pleasure session.
It's a good thing I have 5 days of it happening next week for everyone. But I get a feminine download in the self-pleasure practice, and then my masculine goes and does the thing to then lift the feminine up, and then she honors him, and it's this until we reach nothing, right? And then we just fall into, I don't even know, like when you called me, I was like, or when you texted me, I was like halfway outside of the world, right? And it's that recognition of oneness within ourselves that we can then bring, right, to another person when we create that delicious polarity. It's so much fun to play in, rather than sitting in this like, oh, I have to be in this box of how I think I should be, right?
Playing, or I have to be everything.
Yeah, right. Playing instead of like, well, who wants to take what are we doing here? Where's the polarity at? How are we playing this, right? And we can, and my energy shifts around different people based on, because I want to provide the polarity, right? Which is that attunement. And that's another thing that Tantra teaches, which is awesome. So I love it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Beautiful. So for everyone watching, there's an opportunity for you to experience your masculine and feminine merging next week in the self-pleasure challenge that I have going on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's me self-pleasuring myself on video, which is just delicious in itself. It's free. And I'll post the link so you guys can join in if you're not already in. And then those of you in New York City, I have an event tomorrow night where we're merging eroticism and dance, eroticism and movement. I'm really fucking excited. We're partnering up with Ecstatic Dance. And it's going to be all about this, right? Finding your own attunement and then bringing that to the person in front of you. So that dance isn't about the other person, but it's about your own fulfillment within yourself first. And then you bring that out as a gift. So that's tomorrow night. Make sure you get tickets. And anything that you've going on, Guy, that you want to tell anyone about?
Well, you can find out about all our classes on our website for the Tantra Institute. It's tantrany.com. I think we have a Tantra speed date happening this weekend. Awesome. It may already be sold out. I'm not sure, but yeah, if your viewers want to meet some really awesome conscious men, we have a whole part of the ceremony where we teach men how to hold a masculine grounded space, and it's really fun. But you said most of your viewers are kind of in couples already.
A lot of them, but they may. And there's people all over. We have people all over the world watching. So they can go onto Tantra, right? You have where's the
Tantra?
It's the same.
tantrany.com, yeah, and you can see all of the cities that we're in.
Okay, great. So that way they can see that. It's a great. I mean, I've been to your speed date, and I leave feeling so feminine and so like gushy, yummy. That it's so good. So I recommend going even just to feel that, and then.
I'm so glad. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really yummy. Thank you for creating that. And if you guys have any questions for me or Guy, you can tag us below. If you're watching the replay, write replay and let us know so we can get any questions answered and guide you where you need to go. But thank you. Thank you so much for being on. This is delicious. And I know the viewers got a lot out of that. It was a beautiful story that you told. So thank you. And yeah, I'll see you in 2021.
Yeah, see, see you in 2021. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, bye, hon.
All right, bye.